Hello and welcome to this match preview show with me, Russ Johnson, Scarf Bagara War. I'm joined by Matt Harrison from Lion of Vienna. You okay, mate?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I'm okay, mate. I'm okay. First things first, we've not spoken to you for a long time. I think the last time we spoke to Lion of Vienna, it was before our FA Cup match a few years ago. Just explain to us briefly what Lion of Vienna is about.
So the Lion of Vienna blog, it's a blog run by a bunch of different lads, but sort of like spearheaded by Ed Skelly, who is the host of the podcast as well. The podcast ran years ago. It's sort of like the OG Bolton podcast, if I, without sort of ruffling any feathers. I'm pretty sure that's widely regarded as, podcasting in like the admin days and stuff like that. So it's been going ages, but then sort of fell off. And we've we've spoken between ourselves about getting it back up and running. And I wasn't a part of the original one, but I'm good pals with Ed and a couple of the other lads in the LOV stuff. So we just, at the turn of the year, did a little test record, and then we were like, all right, we'll bite the bullet, let's just do it. And it's been good fun. It's been really good, and it gives a sort of like extra dimension to your interest in your team, and I'm sure you'll sort of like vouch for that as well. You look at it like a slightly different way as well, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, it's we're starting to do like a couple of podcasts a week, so like a review and a preview of each game, and it's good. It's really good and enjoying it. So yeah, that's what we're about.
Nice. Yeah, well, we know what it's like to be the OG. We're the first county podcast at 10 years, so you're not ruffling. I don't think we're certainly not ruffling any feathers from where I'm sitting. And and just briefly, Lion of Vienna. Where does the name come from?
So, the Lion of Vienna is the nickname given to the club legend at Bolton. I mean, you've got your Kochers and Joe Kefs and Kevin Nolans, but like the club legend is the Lion of Vienna after Nat Lofthouse, who scored a brace in Vienna in the 50s. So that's where that comes from. He's got a statue outside the ground and all that. So yeah, the Lion of Vienna is Nat Lofthouse.
Yeah, no, I knew that. I was just getting that out for the listeners, having spoken to you before. That's brilliant. And if anything, it just shows us as county fans, we're now going toe to toe with clubs like yourselves. I know you're on hard times, but for us, we're going to, toe to toe with clubs like yourselves, who you are steeped in this sort of history. Everybody knows Nat Lofthouse and players of those names like JJ Okocha as well, Djorkaeff, you mentioned Nolan. There's probably loads more that we could go through from a Bolton Wanderers perspective. This season then, obviously we played each other earlier in the season. We were just off the back of a 5-0 defeat at home to Wickham, and then you came along, and we won't delve too much onto that. We won't dwell on that too much. But how has it gone for you since then? And talk us through sort of the working up to sacking Ian Evatt and what's happened since then.
So I mean, yeah. So we came to your place in like a little bit of a I'm not going to say purple patch because it was all pretty woeful at the start of the season. But we'd won a few games after getting spanked by Huddersfield, and we were like, all right, this is the first real sort of like, if you want to call it a big game, local rival, because we had a knack for crumbling against anyone within like a 20-mile radius of us. So yeah, we were like, all right, okay, well, this will be like the barometers to see if we've actually turned a corner. And then we turned up. And yeah, it was a horror show. Since then, it's consistently inconsistent, really, under Ian Evatt, and it sort of felt, and you'll know, I mean, obviously you've had Challoner for a while now, but like you get to a point, I feel like with a manager where it feels like the sort of death rattle, like the last throw of a dice when he's really trying to like drastically mix things up, or and like the way they can conduct themselves in interviews and stuff. Like there's a clip that you'll see or that you might have seen after we played Rotherham. We went there and lost 3-1. We were horrific. And he said, "Oh, changing me is not going to change anything. It's the same players out there, and by that logic, no club would ever change manager." So,
Yeah.
um, so it felt like that basically from early December to late January. Really, we'd won. So I think it was the game we got. The game we got sacked was the Charlton game at the end of January, and from then, I think it was from the 23rd of November to the 25th of January, we'd won one league game against 11 men. So we'd played Mansfield and Lincoln and beat both of those, but they'd both had a man sent off. And it was just, really, really poor, just shipping goals left, right, and centre. And we kind of still are doing that, but at least we're scoring enough to pick up points. But yeah, it was just really poor. It got toxic. It got it was a bit sad, to be honest, because it did put like a blot on the paper of years that I really enjoyed as a Wanderers fan. It sort of reignited my real passion for supporting your team and going to the footy and stuff. We did have some really good times, but then it was just, you could just tell that it was fizzling out, and it wasn't the right thing anymore. Obviously, since then, so we sacked Ian Evatt after the Charlton game in late January, and now we've moved on to life with Stephen Schumacher, and Schumacher is currently working with a squad entirely compromised of Evatt's players. So we brought him in at the end of the January window, so the whole squad is Evatt's basically, and it's just it's been just fresh, just nice again. So yeah, I mean, you're coming across a slightly different version of us on Saturday, I'd say, compared to last time. Because last time we were we were poor, weren't we?
Yeah. No, you were. I mean, looking at Schumacher's sort of record since that Charlton defeat, there was you've picked up some really good results, to be fair. I mean, away at Huddersfield, you it's tricky going to Shrewsbury away, I would say, as well. Other teams have faltered there, including Birmingham. The one that stuck out for me, though, has got to be the Birmingham result. I know you say consistently inconsistent, and there are some blots on there, especially last night's as well. We're recording this on Wednesday afternoon. You got beat by Bristol Rovers away last night, but the Birmingham results got to give you some confidence, has it not?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the one of the sort of sticking points under Evatt was that we couldn't win in big games. Like I said, anyone local to us, we just capitulate, and any game with any sort of like pressure on it against a team sort of near us in the top six, we just fold. So we beat Leyton Orient at home, which was the first kind of like sign of, oh, you know what, we actually might be onto something. And then the Birmingham game comes. So and then we had Wrexham and then Birmingham, but three teams up in the top six, and we're like, right, well, we've got 4 points out of Orient and Wrexham, so then we'll see what happens on Tuesday against Birmingham. And we were just fantastic. It was the best performance I've seen us put in years. Just and it was weird. It reminded me, and I've seen a few other Wanderers fans say this. It reminded us of a performance that we would have put in against us under Evatt, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
So Birmingham would try and, I mean, the first 30 minutes, I'd be like, these could win the Champions League. They were that good. And they were just so quick, and just seemed like a level above. It was like what Evatt wanted us to be, just knocking it about. But rather than like dodgy touches, it was just the ball would stick to him and then he'd knock it on, and really quick, really incisive. But we sort of like resisted the way they were trying to like suffocate us. And then we started sort of like getting our foot in the door a little bit. And then we started applying more pressure, and the way we pressed was like nothing I've seen from us, even under Evatt or anything. It was just relentless. We were really, really good. And then obviously we go and lose to Bristol Rovers because that's just the way. Well, after Bolton and Albion, I guess, but that's the way it is, isn't it? So
yeah. I mean, there's a few things I want to unpack there. So I mean, let's talk about the way that you play under Schumacher first. Has he changed it from Ian Evatt? Does he go with a back three, a back four? Does he like the high press? What does he go for? Or can you even see that at the moment?
Well, this is interesting because he's been here like 4-5 weeks now, I think. And one of the main things that we're seeing under Schumacher that we didn't see under Evatt is flexibility tactically, and sort of like fluidity to change things and systems in game. So under Evatt, it must be. I mean, it's been well documented, the playoff final and how poor we were there. But that was Des Buckingham sort of. Yeah, he just schooled us basically. Just we didn't even create a clear cut chance or whatever. And since then, we sort of changed it a little bit at the start of the season, but that wasn't really working. And then we sort of reverted to the 5 at the back, and it'd be like a 5-3-2. And every game, we'd often say like we must be the easiest team to set up against because you just know exactly what you're going to get. Like it's not going to be. He's not going to suddenly throw a wild card in or a curveball and go like, I don't know, 4-3-3 or whatever. It'd just be 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, 2 up top, like it or lump it. And the subs in game will be like for like. It must have just been really, really easy to set up against and to know what you're gonna do. Because if you pressed us high and forced us to go along, we weren't going to do anything. Under Schumacher, he has, like I said, he's playing with Evatt's squad. Basically, he's using Evatt's squad completely. We've played 5 at the back. We've played 4-3-3. We've done like a sort of what I saw as some sort of adaptation of a 4-4-2 against Orient. In that Orient game, he made a sub at half time. I remember 1-0 down, took a midfielder off and sacrificed them for like a more forward thinking player, which is just unheard of, really, for us in the last 4 or 5 years. And in terms of modern football, 5 years is a long time to have a manager.
That doesn't evolve.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it was 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, 2 up top. Schumacher has played that, and we've looked good. But he's not afraid. He's not afraid to change it, and it's nice now. You're sort of starting to see little patterns emerging. So the first goal that we scored against Orient, it was a basic, pretty much a carbon copy against Birmingham. Sort of have it out on the right hand side. There's an overlap that gets played through and then played through to McAtee, who smashed it in the bottom corner. So you're starting to see little things, but right now, I mean, Schumacher's come in and inherited this squad, and obviously he's sort of trying to hit the ground running, I guess. But at the same time, you're going to need time to figure out who the ones you can really lean on are, and who the ones that think might need a bit of an arm around their shoulder, or someone needs dragging off because they've been crap. But starting to see things. But this season, I sort of I sort of wrote it off a little bit anyway. So anything that we do get from this year, I'm just like, all right, that's sweet,
Yeah, bit of a bonus. I was going to come to that actually. Is it pretty much? I mean, it's rather dangerous for opponents, really, isn't it? Because if it is, let's just see how it goes, and you're playing with, you're playing freely and with fluidity, you're probably going to win more than you lose, but you're going to have a bit of a horror show every now and again as well, aren't you? Because you've got the same players, haven't you? So yeah, is that kind of the thinking? Yeah,
I mean, you'll know yourselves. Like as soon as you start winning a couple of games, you're like, oh, we might win the league here. I think we might be the best team ever. I think we might have just like solved football.
Completed it, mate.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So after we beat Birmingham, I was driving up to the Lake District that night, I was sat with my dad in the passenger seat and then my girlfriend in the back, and I was saying, because my girlfriend's from like Derby, I was like, do you know how lucky you are to live within 5 miles of the Tough Sheet? It's mecca for football. It's amazing. And literally just 2 hours of just waxing lyrical about how good we were against Birmingham. And she was like, all right, can you shut up now? I'm tired. So, you get carried away. And it's easy for us too, because the first, from August to January was just so like, it was draining. You couldn't really get you couldn't really celebrate a win, because you'd think, well, next week we're just going to get pulled apart by Stockport or Wigan or Blackpool or like whoever. So, we are in a position now where we're in the playoffs at last. Like, we were winning games and we just weren't getting in there. But I think, a lot of fans wrote it off under Evatt, and then we started winning a few under Schumacher, and then it's it's the hope that kills you.
Yeah.
But for me, anyway, and I know for a couple of Line of Vienna lads as well, it's like, we didn't really expect to get anything from this season anyway. We probably got a squad that's good enough to compete at the top. But at the same time, if we did go up, I'm not sure whether we've got enough about us to really consolidate. So yeah, I mean, last night against Bristol Rovers was we just looked like a shell of the team that played against Birmingham. But I think I'd attribute that to a lot of fatigue. Like, we played Birmingham and then Burton Albion, both different prospects, but physically taxing all the same. Different types of games. Like the press against Birmingham, and the way we like the intensity and energy that we put into that was like non-stop. And then Burton, we were just getting booted across Staffordshire for 90 minutes. So yeah, I mean, we've got a few days to recover now. So fingers crossed, when Saturday comes around, we'll sort of have a little bit more in the tank, ready to go against you lads.
Interesting. So let's talk about Saturday then, because it's like, it's not like, it is a 6-pointer. So we're on 62 from 36. You're on 60 from 36. Obviously, if you win, you overtake us. If we win, we open up that gap to 5 points. Mm-hmm. What's the feeling coming into Saturday then? I know the crowd's doing quite well, and I think there's 21,000 sold, I think, or something like that. So it's going to be a big crowd. We're bringing quite a few. Is the feel good factor back for Saturday, or is there still this sort of underlying sort of nervousness that we could come and maybe do something?
If you'd have asked me that 2 months
on
ago.
Monday.
Well, yeah, right. So if you'd have asked me 2 months ago, I said, well, you'll beat us about 8-0. If you'd have asked me on Monday, I'd have said, we'll beat you 8-0. And asking me now, I think you might beat us 8-0. But it's I think as soon as the new manager came in, there's like a shift in feel and energy and stuff. And you got to take everything with a pinch of salt. I think for me, I do still, because like I said, same manager for 5 years under Evatt, I do worry that there are still the last lingering Ian Evattisms that, we might fold. But at the same time, under Schumacher, we've not really, it's not really given me any reason to think that we will just capitulate, but it's just the constant thing in the back of my mind of like, it's a local rival, this big crowd. Are we just gonna, just gonna collapse? But if we play anything like we have done recently, we'll probably be all right. But like you say, it's a 6-pointer, and the pressure will be on both of us really to get something out of it. And I think you lot are a good team. So, yeah. How do you feel about it?
It's an interesting one. I know it's an interesting one. I feel like I don't really know what's going to happen. The same as I did before we played Charlton, to be honest, because we sort of, flattered to deceive recently. Our last few matches, we haven't been great at all. But then the previous, God knows how many, when you look at other podcasts and you look at underlying data and what they're saying, it's like we're second to Birmingham in sort of performances, and the numbers. So I don't know is the answer. And I said this before the Charlton game as well, and that ended up a 0-0. So I can sort of see us cancelling each other out if you come and play like you did against Birmingham, against Bolton, and those games where you played well. If we come to the tough sheet on Saturday and you're not playing well, there's every chance that we could take it from you, because we do like to be on the front foot, and intensity is our identity, and we say that all the time. That's what Charlie says. So we could take it to you. I just don't know which county's going to turn up, which bodes well for the whole day, really. Big crowd. It does feel like a big match to me. Obviously a 6-pointer, all to play for. It's pretty exciting, really, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the thing about us is that we will create chances. We'll create a few really good chances. Whether we put them away is the thing. Like against Bolton, we should have been about 4-0 up in the first half, and let them score the worst goal I've ever seen. If you've not seen it, don't bother watching it, because it'll offend your eyes. It's that bad. But then last night again, I mean, to be fair, I'm saying that I didn't see the full first half because there was an issue with the stream. So commenting on the second half, at least there were 2 or 3 chances that we should have buried, and it sounded like there was a couple of clear cut ones in the first half as well. So we will give ourselves an opportunity. It's whether we take it or not, and we have a knack for conceding at the moment. So
yeah, which again that doesn't bode well. But let's talk about Saturday specifically, and who are we to look out for? Because we know that Dion Charles has gone on to Huddersfield, as you rightly informed me earlier. I thought he'd gone higher than that for some reason, but yeah, Huddersfield. John McAtee obviously is your player to look out for. Who else should we be should we be thinking of?
I would say, yeah. I mean, you've got Aaron Collins, who's on a very similar amount of goals in the league to John McAtee. Recently, it seems that Dion Charles, when he went to Huddersfield, passed on the mantle of missing big chances to Aaron Collins. So hopefully that version of Collins doesn't turn up on Saturday. But he's, Collins can just make something happen out of nowhere. Like it's happened so many times where we've been struggling to break someone down, and he'll just get it out from under his feet 25 yards out and just stick it in the top corner. So Collins definitely, if he's feeling up for it. Aaron Morley in midfield has been magnificent since he came back from Wycombe. Obviously, he didn't play for us against you last time, but he did play against you in the same week that we played you for Wycombe.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, since he came back, he has been ridiculous, really, really good, integral to midfield. Jordi Osei-Tutu on whichever wing he plays on, whether it's a wing back or playing as a further forward, winger. He is far too good for the level. If he's on it, he will run rings around anyone that's in front of him. There's a clip from against Birmingham where they had about 5 men sort of running after him into the corner, and he was just dancing about with it, and then there was a big scuffle or whatever. So yeah, Jordi Osei-Tutu is another one, and then at the back, Will Forrester has been phenomenal recently. Had a bit of a dip in form last night, but again, he's played 90 minutes pretty much for every game for the past few weeks, barring I can't remember who it was that he was benched against. But yeah, against Birmingham. But he's played 90 minutes other than in that game, and he's been class. Just reads the ball, reads play really well. He's not that tall, but his positioning is great, and he's good in the air considering. So Yeah, I'd say Forrester, Osei Tutu, Morley, and then the two forward lads in McAtee and Collins primarily.
Nice. Okay, we will definitely look out for those. I know you have played Tuesday. Obviously, we played Saturday. We played Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. Not played this week. Everything considered, then. Yeah, well, fresher, I would say. Everything considered, including sort of the crowd, the day, form, that kind of thing. Let me press you for a score prediction.
Oh man, Jesus, I am. I'm bad with this, I'm bad with it on our podcast. It'll take about 4 years to decide. Right, because of last night, I'm gonna say that we'll be a little bit of a wounded animal, and it'll be 3-2 to us. I think we'll concede, definitely. And if you play anything like if I was Challoner, I'd be looking at that last night and be going, all right, okay, let him miss loads of chances and then just oof it long to a fast lad. Or you've got Kyle Wharton up front, don't you? So maybe him to hold it up. But, I'd be doing that. But I'll say 3-2.
Right. I might stick a tenner on that. Must be good.
Good odds for that. What are you saying?
I'm going to go for everything considered. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, I think, and that's kind of my head saying that. My heart says we could probably nick it if we play like anything we can do. We Birmingham were lucky to get away from Edgeley Park with a draw in that second half. So my only concern is that we've not been showing what we can do in the past sort of 2.5 games. So I'm hoping that we do sort of turn ourselves around slightly for ourselves. And if you offered me a point, I think I'd take it. Definitely, because it's a tough place to go. It's you're not a League One club. Your crowds dictate that. The size of the club dictates that. I think what's going for us is you've still got Ian Evatt's players ultimately. Well, one less as well. Although I didn't know about the Wickham lad, so that does make me slightly nervous because they were pretty good when we played them.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable since he's come back in. Just a different player to the lad that we had last season. So. Yeah,
and we're in a bit of a sort of a not I wouldn't say crunch time when it comes to fixtures, but we played Charlton on Saturday. We've got you lads on this Saturday. Then we've got Wrexham away the following Saturday. So depending on what points we pick up over these games, will probably determine whether we're actually got an outside chance of second or not. Or I think most people agree that we're probably just going to be in the playoffs anyway, no matter what happens. So.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, it will. And
I hate games like this.
Well, I mean, but this is why we're here. I mean, county fans don't really like. Well, some county fans don't really like saying it, but 5 years ago, even less than that, we were playing Solihull Moors. So the fact that we're going to Bolton away in League One is just great for us. And I'm not saying we're here to make up the numbers. We're not. We've got our own. We're
a good team.
Good team, really yeah. We've got our own investment and things are moving up from our perspective. So we're not just here to make up the numbers. We are here to take the game to you. But
absolutely,
I enjoy these because we're in the business end now, aren't we?
I'm too used to, like I say, the Ian Evatt-isms of the last few years to be wholly confident. We've not beaten Wigan in 10, 12, at least 10 years now. So.
Really?
Yeah, we never won away at Burton Albion until the weekend. We rarely win at the Seaside at Blackpool. Obviously, we shipped, what was it, at your place, 10 goals in 2 games across.
Yeah.
We played you in the Pizza Cup as well, didn't we? But
yeah, you beat us in the Pizza Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 10 goals in 3 games. It's not a massively ideal return.
But. No, it's not. I'm sure. I'm not sure, but hopefully the good times are ahead of you because you have got, like I said, just to sort of come full circle. Mm-hmm. Massive club, that history you've got. Definitely. I mean, when I started watching football, it was John McGinley at Burnden Park. So, that's the sort of memories I've got. And you deserve to be at tier 2 as an absolute minimum. And I said the same to the Charlton podcast that we spoke to last week as well.
Yeah.
We're kind of here to get ourselves to that table and make sure we can stay at that table. But we're just going around upsetting people at the moment. So fair dues.
You only play what's in front of you, can't you? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, as you pick up points, then fair play to you. Can't knock it whatsoever.
Good stuff, Matt. Cheers for spending half an hour with me to preview the match on Saturday. Good luck after Saturday. Maybe we might see each other in the playoffs. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I can go through the headache of that again. But yeah, thanks for having me, mate. Absolute pleasure.
Worries. Good luck after Saturday. Take care and speak to you soon, mate. Cheers for that.
Bolton. See you later, mate.